Adil, what about you? Breakout star.
Bro, I'm gonna be really honest with you. I haven't watched a single Euro match. Pogba moved the Coke, the Heineken bottle, and their stocks went up.
Yeah. I checked the stocks.
I mean, you're stupid if you're a Barca fan. I mean, you're...
Welcome to another episode of the Ceylon Pass and GrandStand. This is part 2, and this edition will be focusing on the Euros. So the Euro tournament, as of now, the group stage matches are happening, and to discuss this, we have personnel from the Ceylon Pass podcast, and we have the GrandStand podcast. So from the Ceylon Pass camp, we have Adil, Dulana, and James. And from the GrandStand camp, we have Abhishek, Shavin, and myself, Kavinka. But let's get right into it. And we will be starting with something which is causing a bit of controversy. It's about the players' welfare. And we got a glimpse of it, or we got a stark reminder of what it can do to players in the form of the Ericsson incident. So for those of you who don't know or not aware of it, Christian Eriksen was diagnosed with cardiac arrest after he collapsed on the field. And it was really horrifying. People thought he might not make it, but thanks to the medical personnel at the time and Anthony Taylor, the referee, things got swept up quickly, and he's now in a stable condition. But we still don't know whether he can play or not. So that is a big question mark. But we'll be discussing about that first of all. Then, of course, we'll be moving on into the teams of the tournament and what's going on in the tournament as of now. And we'll be ending this episode with the prediction segment at the end, which has the link if you're watching this on YouTube. So let's get right to it. Like I said, the Ericsson incident. Ceylon Pass camp, can I start with Dulana? Dulana, what was going on in your mind at the time? Like, I mean, a lot of us who were watching, I mean, I got the message that something happened to Ericsson and I couldn't believe it. What was going on?
Yeah, I was watching the
match.
Yeah, I was watching the match, and like he just collapsed, and you don't really see stuff like this happen that often. Mostly because as of late, the medical staff and the doctors that the clubs and the national teams employ are pretty much up to date, and it is said that the cardiac arrest that happened was something to do with his electrical impulses, and so that's not anything that's pre-existing, right? That just happens. Out of nowhere. So to like focus less on what actually happened to Ericsson, I think what we should be talking about is like player welfare and like how the Danish FA, the Denmark FA, were pressured from claims by Peter Schmeichel and as reported by Goal.com that UEFA threatened them with a 3-0 forfeit if they didn't finish the match that day. So stuff like that makes you think that UEFA are probably like congesting the fixtures too much, and they have way too much emphasis on profit other than player welfare and like team welfare. So I mean, so hopefully something can be done about that. Like the players' unions can get together and put out a formal complaint, maybe, or the Denmark FA and the Danish players themselves can speak out against it eventually, once they are in a stable condition to do so.
And Abhishek, we saw that Chelsea and Manchester City play the Champions League final, and an interesting point was that both teams had played 50, 60 plus games. What do you make of that, and how can we relate it to player welfare? Should we, obviously, the point is that we should give players a rest, but what do you make of it?
No, I think it is a problem because the players have come out and spoken about it. Actually, regarding the whole, at club level, there was a huge problem with UEFA announcing the expansion of the Champions League, and players came out to actually talk about it. But the problem is it was all kind of swept under the rug because of the whole Super League fiasco, which was announced like one day after their whole plan to expand it. So yeah, I mean, it has been a massive problem, especially Premier League teams. I mean, they have complained, like a lot of managers have complained that sometimes even the Premier League don't want to, alter their fixture schedule to accommodate teams that play in the Champions League. They say that other leagues kind of change the fixture scheduling in a way that the team has enough rest so that they can prepare and go forward to play their next fixture. So you can see that the players themselves are very uncomfortable with this huge fixture list, and all they want to do is just keep on adding to that. So yeah, it seems obviously from UEFA side, I mean, for them it's obviously revenue, massive income commercially. But yeah, it seems like player welfare might be second, must be is given second prominence at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Jurgen Klopp, the season after he came to Liverpool, he stated that he asked the question, why isn't there a winter break? Because he noticed the players were going under heavy stress and
Exactly, yeah.
they were physically challenged. So, if anything opens the Premier League authorities' eyes, it has to be this incident. It was a matter of life and death. Uh, Thankfully, he's okay. But I think the authorities need to do more, need to respect the players. They need to respect the players and their families, because
Yeah,
James, would you add anything onto that?
We'll touch on this, but I think the fact that the amount of footage that was broadcasted from the incident
yeah.
shows a complete lack of disregard for like either respecting the players' privacy, or they didn't seem to actually care about the players' health, or that the fact that there was a life at stake. It was more about getting the sensational news out there, and
Absolutely.
they zoomed in on his not grieving, but distressed wife, and they were trying to get pictures of him receiving medical attention. And normally, if you look at any other incident, whether it's somebody streaking or whether a fan invades the pitch, like none of those incidents are filmed. So, like, we have really asked, why was this filmed? Like, is it because they just don't value the players and their lives and their privacy at all, or do they think that they own the players simply because they pay for their salaries?
But you have to wonder. I think Patrick Bamford also called out UEFA for that matter, when the whole Super League fiasco was going on. They put much more into the Super League when somebody's pockets are getting robbed, but not into racism where it's human life at stake, right? It's all in UEFA's hands now. Are they going to be accountable? That's a big question which needs to be sorted by them. And we as football fans hope that something can take place, something can happen, something good for the sport.
Yeah.
All right. So moving from the off-field action to teams playing in the tournament. So we have the favorites. France and Belgium are the favorites we have picked. Adil, what do you say? France, Belgium. I mean, we all thought that you were going for England because a lot of Chelsea players were in England. #Mount, #love, #Chilwell,
Lukaku
James.
form. I think more than Belgium being a favorite, I think France is way too stacked to not win this.
Yeah.
They've got a B team, a C team possibly that could rival any national team to even beat them. However, in saying that, Lukaku has had the season of his life, and Henry is the assistant manager, and the Belgium's current team is their golden generation. So if they have to win something, it's probably this tournament. It's now or never practically, because I think Lukaku's 28, so they're running out of time to win a national trophy. But more than anything, I think they're sleeping on Italy being favorites because they haven't lost a match in 29 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So more than anything, I think it's.
So if I can interrupt, it goes back to the 1930s. 1930s is when they had their last win streak, or like unbeaten streak, which is 30 games. They're on 29 right now, and they haven't conceded a goal since October, I think.
Yeah.
that's like a bit concerning if you're a French player or like a Belgian player who's going to come up against the Italian defense.
Definitely.
And honestly, watching them last night, I was very last night and then against Turkey as well. I was very impressed with their gung ho style of play. They run so much around the pitch.
Exactly.
I think you can attribute it to the Italian system of play and the Serie A, which has gotten a huge boost. Dare I say, but it would have gotten a huge boost from Ronaldo. After Ronaldo came, it's been blowing up. Right? Have you all noticed it? Like
AC Milan and Inter Milan both became a lot better than they have been in the last few years, and it could be that the Serie A has now become a lot more competitive. I'm not saying Ronaldo has zero impact, but he definitely has had some impact. But also, it's not him alone. Like the other teams have also improved and made it overall more competitively.
I would say Juventus have regressed, in my opinion.
Definitely
regress thanks to managers, I feel. But overall,
I'm
you can say that the Serie A,
Juventus have regressed.
but you can say that the Serie A is a contributing factor.
I think the overall quality of the Serie A and like the players they have has increased dramatically, and I think
for sure.
The amount of young Italian players as well that are coming through the ranks, I think they've boosted that up as well. The amount of talent they import as well, so like players from other countries.
And one interesting point was that France is also a favorite. But Dulana, can you reiterate on the fact that Paul Pogba is much better for France than Manchester United? Short answer, because of Kante. But but do you have any other suggestions? I mean, he has to go back and play with Fred.
I mean, that's the obvious answer, right? But I think more than that.
3 hours later.
Short answer, Kante.
But now moving on to another favorite team and the defending champions, we're going to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo and his Portugal side. Shavin, walk us through Cristiano Ronaldo and his side, a whole alphabet of a squad.
In my opinion, I think Portugal have probably the second most stacked side after France, because they have like two quality players in like every position, right? And you feel they're stacked.
Examples?
They got Bernardo
Cristiano
Silva,
Ronaldo,
Bruno Fernandes, Danilo, William Carvalho.
Cristiano Ronaldo in every position.
I agree.
I mean,
wholeheartedly. But I continue. We'll get to Abhishek later.
And they have the best player in the world as well. So I think that's definitely a contributing factor. But yeah, I think generally it's a matter of finding the right balance and the right squad, because apart from that, I think they're definitely along with France, they're definitely the favorites in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's Fernando Santos's headache altogether, just finding that right balance, because I think it's something that England is facing as well. We'll get to that in a bit, but England manager Gareth Southgate is also facing that dilemma of too many stars. Where am I going to put them? What position they're going to play? Who do they play better with on the field? Those are all things to consider. But other than that, well, they do have a stellar side, and they should be contenders. I mean, leave out winning, they might even come to the semis and maybe screw it up. We saw that in the 2018 World Cup against Uruguay. They didn't do that much of a good job and eventually lost to them 2-0 to 1, I think. So yeah, it's different. It's going to be really interesting to see that Portugal's got mix and match to produce a desired outcome.
But definitely. I mean, they have a good squad. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, you have people like Ruben Diaz at the back, Pepe. They lost Cancelo, but still. And in the midfield, they have quality creators in Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, and of course up front they have the second best player in the world. So yeah, I think they do. I mean, they should be considered, but I just don't feel they'll go the whole way.
Yeah, and
You
Nervous
feel it
because
last
luck-
time? Or?
Adil, you have to
Yes.
soft.
Adil,
louder.
tell us, Adil, what is it?
Because if Ronaldo can win the Euros with BFMTV Gomez up top, you're telling me he can't do this?
Exactly.
His team.
Okay, but if you look at the Euros in 2016, France weren't as good as they are now.
So even Portugal is like
what do you
better
mean
than
France are not
Portugal
good?
was trash.
France
They
was
had
as good.
Nani and Gomez.
Yeah,
And
here's the
like,
thing.
Yes.
Portugal got to the final after winning only one match in 90 minutes.
Exactly.
Yes, they didn't
Right?
win a group
They didn't
stage.
score any goals.
They didn't,
It's
But like,
which
inch
is
of a
like
mind. Inch
and
of a
they got
mind.
Wales in the semi-final. They got Wales in the semi-final. Okay.
I don't know
sorry.
if that'll happen again.
I mean,
but
no
Portugal,
disrespect to
yeah.
Wales. Okay.
Okay, but
But they
from
got Wales in the semi-final.
2016 to 2020, Portugal's squad depth and quality has gone up by
I'm not saying
so
no. I'm telling you they should
guys,
be
it's a really
considered
hard time for
contenders.
Abhishek because
Okay.
it's okay.
Why is it only me? There's another Barca fan in this chat.
James
I mean,
is
James is not
I'm
going to
not
say anything.
bothered, bro.
James,
James is on mute. He's
Yeah.
protected himself.
I
James
don't,
has
I don't,
protected
I don't really
I-
mind. My
no,
point of view.
exactly. No, I'm not saying that Portugal
Exactly.
aren't a good side. I'm just saying that France and Belgium probably have better chances. And because I said that Portugal might end up winning this thing, but yeah, it's just what I feel.
We just need to talk about the apparent second best
favorite.
player in the world. He just broke a record,
Yeah.
but he's the top scorer in the history of the Euros and
Yeah.
scored at 5 Euro tournaments in a row. I mean, just crazy numbers. And for the 36-year-old who doesn't look like he's giving up at this point, and he's chasing the record of most international goals held by the Iranian Ali. Really don't know his second name. I'm sorry, but yeah, but
he's like 4 goals away, I think.
He's like 3 or 4 goals
goals
away,
away.
and yeah, he's just on fire at the moment. I mean, Abhishek and James may beg to differ the fact that he gets handed the penalties and from that he can score. But what do you want him to do? Miss? Or like
No, I know. I mean, okay. If when we were young,
James is
why
saying
is
nothing.
my name getting pulled into this argument?
because you're a Barca fan.
No, I mean,
Barca fans
that-
generally
there
hate
is-
Ronaldo.
there is no question. I mean, if we were younger, we would definitely say Ronaldo is not good at all. But I mean, you're stupid if you're a Barca fan. I mean, you're stupid if you're a football fan.
You're stupid if you're a Barca fan.
I agree.
You're stupid if you're a football fan and don't agree that Ronaldo, what he has achieved is like brilliant. You know, like his record is superb. I mean, obviously we feel Messi is better, but yeah, what he has achieved, especially on the international stage, is crazy. I think what he has done is brilliant, and he deserves praise for that because I mean he's a machine, right? He keeps working, and you know he motivates himself in ways that you know other people have not been able to. Just to keep going at this age, and you know to keep hunting for success at any level. So yeah, I mean, even though it's
Yes, we know he doesn't drink Coke, he drinks water, you know.
yeah, I mean he brought
We know
down
that,
he
yeah.
brought down a
That's
company
the
owner.
secret.
Pogba moved the Coke, the Heineken bottle, and their stocks went up.
Yeah. I checked the stocks.
Before anyone says anything, I would like to say England, as much as any other team, have crazy depth. They probably have like France level depth. It's just they don't have the ambition, in my opinion, or like the mentality to actually win it. They could win it. They should win it. Okay, but I don't know how far they'll actually go. And also, Gareth Southgate's a fucking idiot.
I
Are
agree
they
with you. I don't think.
Are they the Spurs of national teams?
Yeah, he's fair. So
Are England the Spurs of national teams?
ooh.
Look,
You're on mute.
yeah, can I tell you guys something really interesting that I read in the morning? It's an article about England and their throw-ins and how they've perfected it, or like how they're trying to perfect it. So there's this tactic they use. You know, like normally you say like it's a throw-in, just make sure you get it to your man, and make sure you don't put it to a different player of the opposition. But there's this tactic they're using, and you can see that properly in the match they played against Croatia, where like Trippier is the one taking throw-ins, and he's always aiming for Sterling, but he's not aiming at Sterling. He's aiming at the space that Sterling has created by coming inside and drawing the defensive midfielder inside. So there's like a box of space in front of him that he can just make a run. And by doing so, he made so many chances. Like the first Foden chance that he hit onto the post, that was from a throw-in as well. That Sterling made a run through. Trippier found him, and then Foden hit the post, unfortunately. But stuff like that makes me interested. So this is something that the Liverpool hired a person for throw-ins who specializes in throw-ins in 2018, I think. And then and then people were making fun of it. But like this is like one of the crafts he developed, and like this is something Liverpool also do in their playing style. So, like they create this, as I said, like a box of emptiness, and then a free space for Sterling to run from, and then just find the man. And that was a bit brilliant. And then I understand that Southgate's tactics are a bit unorthodox, and people don't really understand. But I'm also saying like we should give him credit where credit is due. That he's trying something with a batch of young players, and who knows, like maybe they'll go far. Hopefully they do.
I think England's biggest problem, like Portugal, is not yet having a proper 11, I think, because they keep switching. And like, I think Dean Henderson as a goalkeeper is better than Pickford, but they need Pickford because they play a lot of like play off on the back and they use the left side a lot.
Yeah,
so they need him for his kicking.
Henderson's also injured now, so he's out.
I think if he can find the right balance and the right squad, man, like James said, there's no reason why England can't go to the semis at least, or even win it.
In time. Fabregas formation for England.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, it was a bit weird.
Do you think that's the ideal formation for this England team? Reece James right back, Stones and Maguire centre back partnership, left back Ben Chilwell, CM Jordan Henderson with Declan Rice, Jack Grealish Cam, right wing Phil Foden, left wing Mason Mount, Harry Kane up front. So it's a 4-3-3. Defensive 4-3-3.
Yeah. I mean that works too, but then like it's not too dissimilar from what we saw, right? Except that Declan Rice is playing a more defensive role, and Kyle Walker-Peters is unlike his Leeds position, he's playing a bit more further up, like what he was playing before he came to Leeds.
Declan's almost in the back three, he's slotted.
I say Kyle Walker-Peters? Oh my god.
Yes, you said Kyle Walker-Peters.
Calvin Phillips.
Kyle Walker.
Kyle Walker is playing as a
Calvin Phillips always at Leeds, like since 2010.
No, this is before Bielsa came in. So once Bielsa came in, he made him operate as more like a proper DM, or like further back, more defensive. But now he's playing like what he was playing before. He's more adventurous, like the McTominay style or whatever. I mean, I don't want to call it McTominay style because I don't know if United have a proper tactic like that. But yeah. Is there anything else we need to talk about England?
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Yeah, so England has the same issues. They have the selection dilemma issue, and that's the manager's headache. And I don't think we can speak much about it. It's just up to the managers to figure out what works best and where. But now we can speak about, and we can go in depth with this as well, the dark horses. So a dark horse, for those of you who don't know, is not the animal, not the song by Katy Perry.
Can they be called a dark horse considering how big of a name Italy is and Italy has in the footballing world? Is it possible to call them a dark horse considering they haven't lost a match in the last 29 games or conceded since October? Because they are not going to be a team that surprises us because if they continue playing the way they're playing. Argument, you can say that they haven't performed up to scratch, but at the moment they are performing. So, and they have been performing for the last 29 games. So, interesting to see
I
what you
think
guys
it's
think
more to
about.
do with like they don't have a star team on paper, right? Where you take France, they have Griezmann, Mbappe, Pogba, Kante, and while Italy has a very well balanced, good, a team that can defend and attack very well, they don't have a lot of like star players, right? Or even if you compare them with Portugal, but they do have a lot of good players like Locatelli, Immobile, who had a really good Serie A season,
Venezuela.
Birani, who's like really good on the wings. Yeah, Spinazzola and Insigne. So I think they have a really good balanced team and they play really good football. And they're very dangerous. They can hurt you in a lot of different ways. But I think the reason you can call them dark horses is because they're not, you wouldn't traditionally consider them favorites coming into the tournament, but they definitely have a chance of winning, in my opinion.
And adding to that, I would say that the reason why the dark horses is purely based on the situation coming into this tournament. If you take the three favorites, France, Belgium, and Portugal. France, defending world champions. Belgium are the number one side in the world in the FIFA rankings. Portugal, defending champions, and they won the Nations League. Italy failed to qualify for the World Cup in 2018. They were on a bad run. And since then, they have changed their approach, their style. Mancini has made a few changes. And since then, they have found that success. And that success has, that recent success has made them, made people turn their heads and think, these guys have a chance. I would say that's the reason why we would call them dark horses, because they are not in the conversation to win this, probably, let's say, a year ago. But I think steadily their performances have, they have continued to put in good performances and put in a very good run, a superb run. 29 games unbeaten, I believe. So I think purely because of the situation they were in and coming to this tournament, I think we can call them dark horses. Obviously, you can disagree, but I feel that's the reason.
Yeah, and I think it's just too early to call anyone a dark horse.
Yeah.
If you're calling anyone a dark horse, it's just based on the first round of games. As of now, as of time we are recording, the second round of games just started. So it's too early. And if you call anyone dark horse, it's just because of instinct or just because we saw that one game. Like even Czech Republic could even be a dark horse. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. If you call Czech Republic or Croatia a dark horse, I'd completely agree. But you can't call Italy a dark horse because of one slump. And ever since that one slump, they've been on a high.
It's like this. England didn't qualify for the 2008 Euros, and I don't think anyone has called them dark horses in the World Cup ever. I understand like Italy are the team is probably a contender, like an outside contender. If you think like you didn't really think the Italian team would be as Abhishek said like a year ago, you didn't think like they'd be like playing this well, playing scoring 3 goals a match with keeping clean sheets since October. So yeah, I guess you can call them dark horses, but I think realistically,
also add to the fact that that they got the term dark horse only for this tournament, not based on history at all. The fact that they won 4 World Cups and won the Euros only for this tournament, regardless of what of their success in previous tournaments.
If you put it that way,
tournaments prior, just only based on this tournament, I would feel like if you'd ask someone,
I think Abhishek, based on what you're saying, and if you ask anybody here, do you think Italy is going to win the tournament? Or if you go and ask an average football fan, if you think Italy is going to win the tournament, or I don't think a lot of people will say yes. And then if you compare Italy and England, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will say England is going to win it because England do have that hype. But if you look at it from an actual possibility kind of view, I'm not sure if England will have a better chance of winning the World Cup than Italy. So which angle are we going at? It's just very subjective.
I guess there's a lot of arguments you can make. Okay, I think I came up with a good let's say definition for the dark horse in this scenario. Let's say we ask, who do you think are the favorites? Okay, and let's say you name your favorites, and from the teams that are not named, who has the best squad to win the tournament? If you look at that angle, I think Italy probably have the best squad. Now let's say in our case we took France, Belgium, and Portugal. So from the rest of those squads, who has the best squad to win the tournament? I would say it's Italy, in that sense.
Makes
Okay,
sense. Yeah.
If you were looking for the definition of a dark horse, it would be Croatia and how they came as far as they did when no one
Probably.
expected them. That would have been
Yeah.
a dark horse. And I
I
think
don't
we
think
could only
people
tell it.
realize.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, but I don't think people realize how good of a squad Croatia had at the World Cup, because once they beat Argentina only, that people go like, oh my gosh, they actually have Mandzukic, Modric, Rakitic, Brozovic, and it was a very
Perisic.
decent Perisic. They had a very decent side, right? Because before that, no one really talked about Croatia. It was just Modric and the team. That's it.
Yeah, well, none
So-
of their players had that hype around them.
Hmm.
They didn't have that name, okay, to say that they were sick. Modric, yes, because he was from Real Madrid. Rakitic, maybe, but he's from Barcelona. He's not like the same. He doesn't have the same flair that Modric does. So
Yes.
when you look at the other teams, you can, like probably the England team, you could say literally every position and know the name. But when you compare the overall squad, it was just not the same level.
Two teams who have disappointed in recent months and you could say recent years, it's Spain and Germany. Germany not getting off to a good start. Same could be said for Spain as well.
Spain, the biggest problem right now is in the attacking half. I mean, clearly Morata is struggling, right? I think I guess it has to be something to do with mentality. I mean, the way he's missing chances, I think that's been a massive problem for Enrique. Yeah, James, anything to add?
Hey, what about not leaving out Real Madrid? Like, not
That's
including Real Madrid.
That's not our problem.
I shouldn't have given it to you. Anyway.
So, like I think we have selected the best possible squad available from all the channels.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. That goes to show, no, the quality of Real Madrid.
I'm joking. But I think another problem with Spain is the fact that a lot of the players in the first 11, they are a little too old or they are a little too young to be in the position. They are a little too inexperienced or they just don't have. They're just a little past their prime. So that combo makes it a little difficult for them to really perform at the levels that Spain is expected to perform at. When you consider like prime Spain with the stacked team that they used to have. And also, this is a little, I'm going to I would say it, but ever since like Villa and Torres, I don't think they've had a proper striker. And I'm not saying they haven't had good strikers. I'm saying none of those good strikers became a striker for Spain. Or maybe they weren't given the chance. Maybe they just flopped, but they just never replaced that. And even in the Villa's last tournament, as I remember, he was retiring that tournament, but he was Spain's best player by far. So if your retiring striker is going to be your best player, then you have some serious issues in that team, and they have not addressed it at all. They have not tried to change up the formation or the tactics. I mean, in a way that works clearly, because it's still not working as well as it should.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you pointed out the fact that they haven't had proper strikers since Villa and Torres. They've had Iago Aspas, Diego Costa, but they really failed to make a mark as much as Torres and Villa did. On to German squad. That too, you could say that the striker is the problem. Where's Arthur, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
I just want to say
one
thing. A lot of people have already like written off Werner, but I really feel like he is a really good talent. He's just in a really bad phase mentally, and his form has dipped because he's been extremely lucky, and obviously that does play a role in your performance. If he can get his mind straight and look at the international matches as a fresh start away from the club, I'm pretty sure he could surprise a lot of players and become Germany's best player in the tournament. I'm just not sure if that will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he is dare I say this, but someone like Firmino, because Firmino isn't a striker, but he is someone who
Centre-back.
helps. Yeah, he's going
He's
goal.
an attacking inverted centre back, okay, who
Double
plays off the
pivoting.
bench in the 67th minute.
He's like what Tony Rudiger does in matches. He's all the way up in front when he's supposed to be at the back.
Yeah.
No, but you can draw an analogy with Roberto Firmino, because if you go back to the goal, the Champions League goal, the Kai Havertz goal,
Yeah.
Werner makes a run which drags John Stones away, right? And that allows for Kai Havertz to make that run into that space. If Werner hadn't made that run, there wouldn't have been that space. So that's also a form of helping your non-strikers. So that's why I drew.
I definitely think Tuchel, like towards the end of the season, he figured out how to best use Werner, because he knew he wasn't scoring that much. Like, sure, if you get a chance, score. But then he saw like what else he could utilize, which is obviously speed, right? So he even in the final and like to the matches leading up to the final of the Champions League, he was always making runs, drawing up players, which freed Kai Havertz for that to receive the pass and finish.
And even his chances he got, they weren't super chances. The ball was just a little behind him. It just didn't sit just right for him. It was a little off. Obviously, like a world-class striker on his day finishes those, but he was a striker already struggling with form and mentally, and he keeps getting these chances that just aren't good enough for him to finish.
I think people really Yeah, sorry, Sean, go on. Yeah.
No, you can.
Oh, I was just gonna say that like people really undervalue the fact that like it's really hard to like join a new league, in a new country and obviously a new team and like get firing straight away. Like it's a really hard thing to do, especially if you're like a young player who hasn't like gotten that much experience. I know Werner has been playing for like a good 3-4 years now in like the first team, but obviously he's still like not that experienced. So I think in the future I will probably see Timo Werner play a bigger role for Chelsea and for like Germany. Shahin.
I think the fact that Joachim Low is leaving as well, right? This Euros is his last tournament with Germany, so I think that definitely will affect the team morale and his tactics as well, right? Like he has no reason to, look for like a new system to incorporate Werner, Gnabry, Sane, and all that. Like he's playing his same style of football, but if they can get a manager who can utilize all those pacey players. And because I think Germany's biggest problem is they don't have a striker who can like hold up the ball and release the other players in the front. So all of them are quick, right? So I think if they find a manager who can utilize those players and like create a proper style, definitely I think Germany
they're getting
potential to be a good team.
They're getting Hansi Flick, so the way he managed Bayern was like, he changed them to a proper team, right? They became so dominant. I think it'll work for Germany as well. And he has quite a few of those Bayern players in Germany as well. So the future looks good for them.
Sheik and James hates that. They both hate that name, Hansi Flick.
I have no issue. I would like to say that I do not have any of the issues that Kavinga says I have. I do not associate myself with his opinion.
He's talking about the 8-2.
James, you're just making Abhishek look bad now, huh?
No, Abhishek doesn't. I'm not saying Abhishek hates him. I'm just saying that I don't hate him.
No, he's talking about the 8-2, bro. He's talking about the 8-2.
Yeah, I know, but bro, it's like
I think it's very obvious he's talking about the 8-2.
To be honest,
the small clubs are barking in my ear. I try to ignore it.
To be honest, the 8-2 didn't affect me as much as the 4-0. The 4-0 like broke me so badly. It was so bad. So it's not a big thing. Yeah.
I expected it when I saw the lineup. I knew it was that.
Obviously. What was that? It was going to happen. It was inevitable.
I think except for Man U, literally all of us have got hammered by Bayern.
And Liverpool.
Yeah, well, United need to qualify now for Champions League for that.
What can I say?
For that.
What can I say?
So another point that was brought up, and a claim was made that Germany is not using that 3-man defense well. They had Gosens, a relatively relatively inexperienced left back in their left back position, and they had Joshua Kimmich operating on the right. So it was, I think it was a bit mismatched, because I feel like Joshua Kimmich is a complete player. He's probably the most complete player in the world at the moment. But he could be playing CDM and sorting out that CDM area, because Gundogan and Kroos, as creative as they aren't really holding midfielders. And I think Germany need a holding midfielder. They had a holding midfield in the 2014 World Cup in the form of Sami Khedira and even Bastian Schweinsteiger. So they really need some player who can fill in that role. And I feel it's Joshua Kimmich. Yeah, probably just have the three-man defense at the back and just allow your left-sided and right-sided wing-backs to just push out further. It seemed like Gosens was doing much of the defending. Obviously, he has to, because you have Griezmann and Pogba lurking in that area. But yeah, interesting to see how Germany will progress through to the final stages if they are to get out of that group of death. So yeah, that will be interesting overall. And now we move on to a really interesting segment, the last segment, which is the prediction segment. And we have first, we will go through the individual predictions. So guys, breakout star.
Locatelli, even though I haven't watched.
Locatelli.
Phil Foden.
Phil Foden. Shavin?
I was gonna say Phil Foden as well.
James?
I was going to say Phil Foden.
Just because he has, Gascoigne.
No, because I think he's like a really
you know how much
player.
Savin and I love Phil Foden. We've always told that he's brilliant.
But okay, I'll go for a different take. I would say Pedri, hopefully, because
of course, yeah.
I think he'll be like a bit of a gem in a bit of a dodgy Spanish side.
Yeah. Dolana?
I think it's going to be Wout Weghorst of Netherlands, the striker, the big man up front. It's like what, the second time he's playing for Netherlands, and he's had like such a great season for Wolfsburg. I think it's Wolfsburg. And he's insane. Like every time I play career mode on FIFA, I buy him because he's so fucking tall.
Nice.
He's so tall. Weghorst is actually a very decent number 9 to have up front.
Exactly. And like imagine these teams that are struggling without a number 9, like that could just like imagine a Spurs who need a backup for Harry Kane, and like if Wout Weghorst has a really good season or a really good Euros, he's already had a good season, he could like bank a move to a bigger team, and like I hope he does. And and I'm backing him to become the breakout star of this tournament.
Yeah, Weghorst of Wolfsburg, obviously getting into the top 5 top goal scorers in the Bundesliga in the previous season. Adil, what about you? Breakout star.
So I'm gonna be really honest with you. I haven't watched a single Euro match. What do you guys think about Patrick Schick having a good season, a good Euros?
Just because he scored a halfway line goal.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good. I watched that Scotland match.
He had a proper game. And he
had influence on that game.
He will have a good.
Even his first goal was good, like proper presence in the box,
Yeah. See, this is why Czech Republic are the dark horses.
I would choose. Actually, it was between
Salah.
Patrick. Yeah. The Euros. Yeah. No, I was going to choose either Patrick Schick because I thought he was impressive in that match, or I was going to choose Jude Bellingham. But he might not get as many starts as he would want. So who knows? I mean, it's too early to call. So,
guys, what do you all think of Calvin Phillips? Just to add on, what do you all think of Calvin Phillips as a? I mean, I know I said Foden, but Phillips had a good game. Yeah. So
if he plays like how he did the previous match, I think. Yeah.
And that's our breakout star segment. And now we move on to the top goal scorer. Who's it going to be, James?
Pedri.
Obviously, I don't think he will score, but I don't think
Romelu Lukaku.
No, I
Wow,
don't think.
really?
I think
Yeah,
he'll be like.
I think it's
he'll
gonna
be
be
there, but I
Lukaku.
don't. I
I would say it's Lukaku.
I have a feeling Belgium aren't going to win. I don't know. They
But
should,
imagine,
but I just,
imagine like Portugal mess up the next two matches, like they just lose. That's it
No,
for
yeah,
Ronaldo.
Yeah.
yeah.
Xavi, you heard.
Dulan, who's on your radar?
I said Lukaku as well for top scorer,
Lukaku.
but
All
it
right.
could be. I mean, Immobile could have a good Euros. He's already scored like two goals.
Adil?
You know who I
Yeah,
really
of
want to
course.
be a top scorer? Like from
Who?
bottom of my heart. Ay, ay,
Werner.
ay. Ay, ay, ay.
Werner.
Memphis Depay.
No, fuck off. Shit, I saw again.
Who?
I love
He wants a
Depay.
Barca player to
Depay.
score. Wow.
Depay. Yeah.
He's not a Barca player yet. When
I
he
love
joins us,
Depay.
Yeah,
and then the next Euros
When
we
he
support
went
him.
to Lyon, he did some mad stuff, man. Like I
No.
love
If
Depay.
anyone's going to be top scorer for Netherlands, it's Wout Weghorst. On the money.
But if it's not Depay, I'd like Immobile to be top scorer.
Yeah. There's a point there. Xavi, what about you?
I'm gonna pick Immobile as well. I think he's had a few good games. I think Italy will go far in the tournament, so I think he has a good chance. But yeah, I'm gonna say Immobile, top scorer.
Abhishek?
I'm going with Lukaku for the simple reason that when Lukaku plays for Belgium, he goes to another level. His record for Belgium is brilliant.
Yeah.
I think 62 goals in 90 odd games. So yeah, and he was brilliant last season in the Serie A. And I'm also backing Belgium to go all the way, at least one of the teams. So yeah, I'm going with Lukaku.
That's just a different
one more thing
machine.
to add is like Lukaku for Belgium now, like from recent years, for like the past 2 years maybe, he has become like their main man. And
yeah, he has.
Even
like,
though
he
like
goes to
De
another level.
Bruyne,
His record is just brilliant.
even though like De Bruyne and like Hazard play, like usually it's them who like get something out of like goals, right? They like create goals, even Mertens. Now like they've taken a step back. It's always Lukaku. They're feeding Lukaku. He's always the one scoring. So very interested to see what Lukaku does.
Bro, no one picked Kane, no?
No one picked Kane.
Oh,
That's mad.
Hey, wait. Kavin can still make his prediction.
Yeah,
Kavin's gonna pick
my prediction is Ronaldo, firm favorite, and second is Lukaku. But why I think Kane might not win it is because he plays a pivoting role. He acts as that central position which the opposition defense clings onto and allows the right winger and left winger to exploit space and score goals.
What do you call it?
I think that's
what do you call it? Defensive
the Roberto Firmino role. No, the Roberto Firmino role.
Oh.
The Roberto Firmino role. That's what you
Central
call it.
midfielder rotating with the inverted right left back.
12th man.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like Kane plays so much more deeper for England now for some reason. But I think it's mostly like draw out the players, right? Like you said. So we'll see though.
Yeah.
And the final individual prediction, the player of the tournament. Xavi?
Player of the tournament, I'm gonna say Ronaldo. When Portugal, along with Portugal, will counter my prediction later, but I think Ronaldo will be.
Okay, so I'm going to move to the other team I'm supporting and say Kante. Yeah, because he's on another level again.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the way he's playing right now, I mean, he's just brilliant. So I'm going with Kante.
Interesting. James?
I was going to say Kante too, but
I'm so sorry, bro.
I'll stay with Kante, bro. I think it'll be. Because he's coming off, I'll explain why. He's coming off like a major hype, and everybody's hyping up even more because he's very likable. Chelsea win the Chelsea won the Champions League. It's coming off so many different factors. I think that positivity will carry through, and if he keeps up this form and France win the World Cup, I have a good feeling that it will be him that gets the MVP award.
Perfect. Dulana?
This is gonna be. It's someone who hasn't even played yet. It's
Okay.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Ooh,
He's back in the squad tonight, so we'll see.
He was going to be my second pick, but yeah.
Honestly, you're asking the wrong person.
Okay.
I didn't
Mason
put
Mount.
names
Player.
and randomly picking it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put like a Ronaldo. I'm gonna be like, oh, this guy.
Patrick Schick.
I'm surprised you didn't choose a single Chelsea player. Why not?
I don't see it happening. That's why.
We
Choose
picked
a Chelsea
Timo
player who's
Werner.
on loan. They
Sorry.
usually are good. Choose a
We
Chelsea
picked
player on loan.
Lukaku.
Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku.
All right.
All right. And
Who do you?
I think the player of the tournament is going to be Kylian Mbappe. I'll tell you why.
Wow.
Very briefly. I watched the match, the France versus Germany match, and he got a disallowed goal because of the Karim Benzema offside. But what he did there was just amazing. Like, he dummied Hummels and got the ball past Neuer into the back of the net. And that's not something you would see from a forward line player that often. He's just a different breed. I mean, Mbappe, we are blessed to see him play, and he will be playing for the next 12, 15 years. So
I just want to clarify something. Did you just say that it's not normal for a striker to get past the defender and put the ball in the back of the net?
And Neuer.
He's talking about Firmino.
His standards are here.
The standards are pretty low.
I'm talking Neuer as well, because you're up against two of the best defensive players ever, like Hummels and Manuel Neuer. So I think his game against Germany was good as well. Moving on to the final segment, the winner of the Euro 2020 tournament, Adil,
Italy.
Even though you've not what?
I don't know, man. I really want Italy to win, but Portugal as well. So I'd like Italy versus Portugal finals. Can I say that?
Okay.
Sure.
James?
I'm going with Belgium.
All right. Dulana?
I think France. France.
Okay. Shavin, Portugal, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to say Portugal. I'm going to say... Yeah,
oh, no. Portugal are going to win now.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened recently?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say Manchester City is going to come back and win the Premier League.
Pictures that they will cherish forever. A year without it, a year when the
GrandStand curse will come about.
Shavi's prediction worked on
Man City.
It's okay. At least Bruno wins the trophy.
Yeah. Abhishek?
Can I say two teams?
Yeah, sure.
That's not how a winner works, but okay.
Winners work.
Either France or Belgium. Yeah.
France or Belgium. And I would obviously choose Portugal, because I feel like...
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I told you I would choose Portugal.
Yes, I know you.
All right, and that ends the prediction segment, and it ends the episode as well. And if you survived until this particular point, then congrats to you. But if you obviously skipped a lot of parts and you checked out the winners, if you checked out the winners segment only and stumbled upon this part, well, congrats to you as well. We will see you. Take care wherever you are. It's not safe out there. Please be mindful, stay healthy and all those things. And from us in Sri Lanka and Dulana in Australia, making a huge sacrifice to be with us at this moment.
It's not that bad. My sleep schedule is not that great.
All right. That's the good news there as well. But enjoy the tournament. As always, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Toodles.
Bye-bye.